Call the meeting to order. We have a shared vision in the Fern Ridge School District to provide excellence for every student so that each will reach their greatest potential. Thank you for the members of the public who have joined us. As a reminder, school board meetings and work sessions are meetings of the board held in public, providing an opportunity to observe the board's discussion and actions. In an effort to conduct official board business, we ask that the audience be respectful and refrain from questions, comments, and unnecessary noise while the board conducts the meeting. Also, please note that all board meetings are live streamed, posted on the school board area of the website. First item of discussion is K2 through 3-5. Mr. Carpenter, if you'll bring us up to speed.
Sure. Last month we introduced this topic. And Chair, what we kind of done to that point, we went through our presentation. You had asked that we have the school administrators come here tonight. They're here. What I'm looking for tonight is just to continue the conversation, answer any questions maybe you've come up with over the last month, the things you've learned and heard about. And then in the regular board meeting tonight, one of the last items, I'd look for the board, hopefully, to either say, you know what, this isn't the right time right now. Don't want to look into this any further. Or maybe you flat out think we don't ever want to do this. So look for some action to end this discussion for now, to be discussed down the road, possibly, or to make a decision to continue to look into it. To remind you what continue to look into to me would look like, but I certainly want your input would be talk to some other school districts that are doing this or have done it. Like we talked about, Lincoln County did it several years ago. I've since learned Estacada just made the decision to do this in 26-27. So they're switching to this model in September. And North Bend is about a month ahead of us in this process. They had kind of a work session like this at their October board meeting, and I sent you that Zoom link if you were interested in watching that just a couple hours ago. So those would be some of the things we do. We probably engage the community in some form, maybe hold some type of forum, surveys, etc. So tonight is just about the discussion, and then hopefully in the regular board meeting, take some action to go one way or the other.
Let's go around the room, I think, and kind of get a feel for the board sitting on all of it. Start with you, Brad.
I think I want to hear more from administrators and teachers about this. I've looked at a lot of it, researched a lot recently. I just want to hear a little bit more boots on the ground, how it would affect the teachers in their day-to-day administrators before I make a call on it. That's kind of where I'm at.
I will agree with that. The other thing is I'd like to make sure that we get input from the parents and the community. Mm-hmm. We have input from staff. Mm-hmm. But I'd like to also see that from the other.
I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm the same boat. I'd like to hear more. I probably wouldn't shut it down. But that's a little more than what, like, we're getting. I think we're hearing from the administrators and the teachers a lot, and then we're hearing from some of the public. I'd like to hear more about, look at all the columns, right? Like we're getting a lot of the columns, like we're not gonna save money. Well, okay, great, we're not gonna save money. And parents are gonna have to go to more than one school. And I've heard a lot of different negatives, but how is it a positive for the kids' education? I think that's something we gotta be concerned with.
And I don't know if we're just from the vocal minority, you know what I mean? Or
right.
I just don't know yet.
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, I think what we're all here to do is to provide a good education for the kids, and starting early, we all know, is where it starts. So if this is good for that, I'd like to hear more. I mean, I get it's an inconvenience, and I get that there's issues with it, but I don't know if there's data to look at because not many schools have done it. But I know what does concern me is I don't particularly like the idea of blended classes. I mean, some of the people I've talked to about this from the public that's reached out to me, I mean, one of the things I asked them, I said, okay, with all those things being said that you don't like, if it meant we had 0 blended classes, would you be more on board? And almost all of them said, if you could guarantee me that, I probably would.
I just don't know how we would know without, we don't have a crystal ball, and there's no way to see future enrollment numbers. And I know they're trending down across the state for every school district, but we don't know. And sometimes you have those bubble years where you have 10 more kids in a class than you did the year before. And I think it really depends on, I'm not a teacher, so I don't want to speak to them, but I think it depends on how those kids' behavior are. Sometimes you could have 30 kids and they could be angels, or you could have 22 kids and it could be a rough group. So I don't know if that really matters that much, if it is a blend or not.
In my mind too, with that scenario, like you said, if we're all in one school and we have 4 kindergarten teachers, we don't have to have all of the kids that are struggling in one class. We can spread them out if they're being disruptive, or we can move them to a teacher that is more appropriate for them.
Let me just comment quickly on a couple of things I was taking notes on. I totally agree. We need to reach out to the community and parents. Like I mentioned before, I felt like I didn't want to do that yet and raise a bunch of angst and anxiety if the board was going to say, nope, let's don't look into this. So, but obviously we need to reach out to more
Well,
folks.
I'll say personally for me, the cons outweigh the pros for me. The one big pro that sticks with me is to establish a better relationship in middle school between the 2 grade schools. And that's the one and only thing that I really see as a positive that would come from it. I mean, obviously fiscally for the school, but there's a huge divide between Benita and Elmira. And there has been, and it's a sticking point for me. And it hits home personally, it hits home across all the athletics that I'm a part of. And it's a major issue in the school district. And I don't want to beat a dead horse. I don't want to, get up on my soapbox too much about it, but it's a problem that I see. And that I think would alleviate some of that, just having a relationship at younger ages with these kids, because it's this them versus us thing. And it extends beyond the kids to the parents and the community. And it's this weird, gritty divide in this area. And it's like when you cross Highway 126, it's a different deal. And I've never understood that. I don't come from that and I'm not used to it. And this is the only place that I've seen it happen is here. And I would like that to go away, but I don't know if I want that, more so than to not happen.
I feel the same. I don't think I'm educated enough to make the decision at this point, but I think I'm curious enough to keep looking at it. Would be how I would state where I'm at.
Let me touch base on a few other things. You mentioned fiscally not saving district of money. Know that I don't anticipate this to save us any money. So that is definitely one of the pros.
Oh, I thought you were speaking to that it would change title.
There's a possibility. It could let us operate more efficiently with staff, but I'm not so sure of that I would say this is a significant.
But it does eliminate the need for having 2 kindergarten teachers at Elmira, 2 at Benita. The 2 kindergarten teachers might only have 20 kids, and the 2 at Benita have 40.
Yeah.
Right? And you may have to bring in additional help at Benita to help with a bigger class, correct?
Well, this year we had traditionally the class structure, meaning are we going to have 2 teachers at one grade level, 3 at another, 1 blend or whatever? That's been on the principals. But it's starting to become more impactful because when those decisions are made and when we could have blended and had more reduced class sizes, I'm not, put in a spot where I have the teachers association say, we got a kindergarten class with 28, you need to hire somebody at $50,000 and put them in their classroom, which is where we were at this year. It would eliminate that. But so going forward, I will I will be more in tune with the elementary principals in regards to them giving me their proposals and me signing off on those or altering them if I don't like them. So obviously, what they want is going to probably play the major role, but we'll need to be clear that this bubble issue and hiring extra folks for support, it's not in the budget. We could have blended classrooms and everybody could be between 23 and 26. Couple of things I want to touch on. You mentioned, are you just caring for the vocal minority? No, from my perspective, without a doubt, the majority of parents in this community are not in favor of this idea. So I don't think it's a vocal minority. That's probably who you're hearing from. There's certainly folks that are big supporters of it. You're not going to hear from them, but know that if I threw a dart, I don't know how significant, but more than 50% of people aren't going to be in favor of this. And I would relate it back to the decision made when we closed no tie in Central Elementary. I bet that was 99% of the people were against that. It was still the right decision.
So I guess without putting you on the spot, I guess that's been my question all along. Why was it presented then? this isn't a dig at you. Why are we talking about it now? Is it a future budgetary issue? Is it?
Sure. I would say number one, several issues. The one I would put at the top is academic achievement. One of your charges, I know all of you are significantly invested in our students academically achieving as high as anybody in the state. There's no reason kids in Fern Ridge shouldn't be at or above what the state average is. And while there's not, I can't go to some one study and say, oh, you do this, you implement a K-2 Thrive 3-5, it's going to impact us tremendously in a positive way. But what I can say is that when PD is more aligned to folks, it helps kids. When we have balanced class sizes, it helps kids. When we have no blends, it helps kids. When teachers are working together at a grade level, it helps kids. When they all go to the middle school knowing each other, it helps kids. I could list off a couple dozen individual things that are beneficial to students. But again, is there one study that says us going K-2 3-5 is the end all be all? No. So academic achievement, I would say, would be number one. Then the second and third thing is just balance of workload, right? We have teachers with 30 and teachers with 18. That makes teachers grumpy in the same grade level. Just at different schools, maybe not specifically this year. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but certainly in years past. And or blends, now we bargained into our last contract, we have to pay teachers extra money when they're working in a blend. So anyhow,
Is there any kind of data looking at schools that have adopted this to see what the community feels like after it's happened? Or
yeah, if the board wants to continue looking, and that's definitely one of the things we'll talk to Lincoln County about. Okay, what was the pushback when you guys did this 8-10 years ago? Was everybody in favor of it, or which I doubt? Actually, Ms. Klingsmore was there. Maybe she could speak to it. And then what does it look like now? Are you sorry they did this? Obviously, if they are, that's good information for us. If they think this was the best thing since sliced bread and it's went fantastically, then that would be good information for us. So we'll definitely reach out to them. And I'm learning that more and more districts are doing this. I haven't emailed the whole state of Oregon superintendent list, but again, if the board wants to investigate this more, I probably will, and see if in the last 10 years who's made this switch and try to get feedback from them on their regrets or things they could have done differently, or if they're pleased about it. So.
Is this something that could hypothetically potentially go up in flames and we need to go back to where we are now? Is that?
Well, I haven't seen that.
Right, it doesn't work. Now we're back to where we were.
I mean, I would say never, I would never say there's zero chance, but I certainly wouldn't anticipate that. If that was the case, then I would have done something seriously wrong.
But that would be great feedback that we would get back from the schools that have done this or have thought about doing
I
it.
wish we wouldn't have done it, or we thought that we did.
right. I just don't like the red tape and dragging it on and on and on, and 7 more board meetings talking about this and all.
Well, like I said, if we're doing this in the fall of 26, I want to know in January. So,
Yeah, I would like to know if there's like a higher graduation rate or a higher,
sure.
Whatever. I mean, if there really is like real data, that's a different story to have, but I still need to hear from I'd like to hear from the administrators and
Sure.
teachers stuff, because I just don't know enough about it.
We have the elementary school principals. I mean, it's appropriate for us to ask them to come
You
up.
betcha. Why don't we just go around? Miss Marshall, let's start with you.
Yeah, let's start over here.
You should have seen that comment.
Well, preferably, I think what I would like to hear is 2 or 3 pros and 2 or 3 cons, right? There's always 2 sides.
I'll try to take 30 seconds.
Go ahead.
So besides the pros and cons, what I would also like to hear is that how is it going to benefit these kids? I saw the pros and cons that we had last.
Yeah, how does it hurt
It didn't answer
the kids and how does it benefit the kids?
Yeah, I think, go ahead, Vern.
I would like to hear honest, personal opinions from the teachers, because we all as a community trust you guys, love you guys, and you guys are good educators, and we care very much about you guys and how you take care of our children, and your opinions matter a lot to us. So that's what I want to hear mostly is like how you really genuinely feel about
If folks would like, remember we polled all the teachers and I gave you all that data.
it. I just want to hear them speak about it. You know what I mean?
It's hard to look at numbers and then actual testimony. Those are 2 completely different things.
Yeah.
Because we don't No offense.
Was there
to
comments?
We don't really care what the middle school and high school thinks, staff.
And we could do another survey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious, but I mean, obviously, I'm more curious
I
from,
am too.
from elementary and early middle school.
Yeah.
Early middle school, you know, I mean, once you get past that.
I guess what I'd suggest is, and that makes sense. Again, what I hear is maybe you want to continue to look into this. What I'd suggest is we do, rather than, I don't know how many elementary folks we got here, 5 or 6. I'd do another survey and say, write me a paragraph, you know, and if you're interested on either side of this and one board wants to hear from you, and then all of them, we have, you know, 40 of it.
I think the only issue, sorry, I think the only issue with that is we only hear from the vocal ones. You know what I mean? I mean, that's,
If they're here, can't we ask them?
yeah, because I.
Yeah, well, yes, throw in this
Wait, oh, excuse me for 1 minute. Okay, I thought we're here to listen to the teachers.
I didn't invite any teachers, some showed up.
They're here on their own.
You asked me to invite the principals and that's what I did.
I'd love to hear anything.
So we would love to hear from you, from the heart, what do you really think? What do you really feel? What do you think would be the best for our district?
Okay.
Sorry.
Maybe we can get everybody to take 30 seconds. I know it's not a lot of time, but.
I'll try to say, and then, sorry, I was gonna say, you've got some teachers that are coming from both schools that were gonna come and speak read a letter at the.
The regular session.
meeting. I didn't know that there
Sure.
was some comments, so there's a public comment tonight, has 3 teachers talking.
Perfect,
Good.
perfect.
Are we sure?
Please.
Really?
30 seconds. The first thing I would say, Mr. Carpenter already talked about it. Go spend a day in Paris Hood's kindergarten classroom with 28 kids. That is too many kids in a kindergarten classroom. And then go to Benita and there's a classroom of 18. And not that it's not the teacher's fault, right? They teach the class that they get, but teaching 28 kinders is mind-blowing to me. I would ask you to go spend a day and watch it happen. She probably does really great, but it's hard and it's very different. The other thing I would say is exactly what you said. Being a parent out here, I've had 2 kids graduate from the high school, coached them all through, and the divide is real.
Yeah.
And it's hard to break. It's hard to break. And what happens is sometimes you do get a really great group of athletes and you go to this club or you go to Babe Ruth and you go outside of the district. And so then you've created another weird bond where these kids are like coming together, but they're not coming together with their schools and their TSP. And so that's really hard. I think as coming from a teacher, I would be scared to lose my bond with my staff members and have to move schools.
Say it again, please.
I'd be scared to lose a bond with my team. If I've been here in this district for 27 years and I've taught with these 2 teachers for 27 years, I didn't ask to move. I didn't ask for a new principal. I didn't ask for a new school. What if I want to stay at Elmira? But this is now the K-2 school and I'm a 5th grade teacher.
Is there potentially a way at registration to tell parents that, like, hey, there's 28 at Elmira and there's 18 at Benita, can you request if you'd like to request a transfer, we will honor it just to balance
No,
classes.
but
We
they
did
have
have
to
4
transport.
teams for 1 year too.
Yeah, then they have to transport.
But anytime anybody makes that request, unless they're going from a class of 18 to a class of 24, right? It's going the wrong way.
Right.
But if the numbers work, we always approve them.
And we did do that 1 year when Jenny had 35 in 2nd grade class. And we forced transfers, anybody who came.
Yeah,
But then the next year, what do they do if the bubble drops? And then you've got these kids that were in one building for 2 years. And what we did was we reached out to our families that were newer, right? They just were coming to us. And I mean, and so you're trying to like build this. Benita is just as great as Elmira. Elmira is just as great as Benita. You're trying to keep that camaraderie. And I'd say both schools do a really good job of collaborating together. But it's hard. And it's hard to like, even right now with the PLC model that they have, they're either meeting virtually or one team's driving, you're losing 20 minutes of time going back and forth, dragging your stuff back and forth. But that's over 30 seconds.
Okay, so the pro would be PLCs and also professional development.
What was the first?
PLCs, just working in a building all together. That would be my pro. The con would be staff is divided, staff, communities are divided as well because it's gonna be tough for the parents and also the kids. I love the mentoring that takes place with the students and there would be a loss to that. That, I think, what you asked, a pro and a con.
Yeah.
Correct, so we can get more in.
It's getting a little repetitive, but I think, collaboration would be a pro. Again, Paris Hood is a great example. She's working alone right now. It can be really helpful to have a teaching team. And it's really hard to have a teaching team across the two buildings. The balanced class sizes, that's a huge deal. I've sat in this position as a classroom teacher and an administrator. It's really hard to have a really, really large class size when you know that there are folks with really small class sizes. And then I think blends are hard too. I've taught blends and now I help lead them. We have 2 blends in our school right now. It's a challenge. There's no way around it. It's going to be a challenge. The cons, I think, are they're obvious. They pull at the heartstrings. We are families in our buildings. We work together really cohesively. We have for years, decades even. So that is a huge con, I would say. And then mentorship is also a thing for sure. We have a lot of kids who, a lot of 5th graders who help our kinders and, you know, watching kids visit their old teachers and stuff. So I think that the cons definitely, they feel weighted because they're a little bit more about heart. And I think the pros, in my mind, are a little bit more about systems and kind of how we can tighten up systems and make those systems run more efficiently.
So knowing those are the pros and cons.
Yeah, what way do you?
I mean, when you're weighting it, right? Because at some point we've got to make the decision. So when you're weighting that, which one do you give more weight to? Because it sounds like if the systems are better and the class sizes are smaller and the teachers can be more collaborative, that sounds to me, and I'm a layman, I mean, I'm just looking for information. That sounds better for the kids to me. And saying, but I'm really emotionally tied to the people I work with. Yes, is a concern, but doesn't feel as weighted to me, right? Like, I mean, it's sad, it sucks, but
To me, it does. I mean, it's the same to me. You know, I mean, it's really.
One thing that I forgot to say, and I see Becky here, and I know we talked about this. The challenge for me is the health that we provide to students that have a health need. There would be more transition needed for a student that has diabetes to go from working with one from kinder through 2nd to then a transfer to new school to learn the care for that student and then a transfer then to the middle school. That would be hard, and Becky and I talked about that.
And that's the one thing that I kept reading, researching on my own is that the relationship that you develop with the student, you understand like their learning trends and what those kids need and the type of attention and focus and stuff. And that seemed to be a major con of the split. That, you know, you have a relationship with the kid for 6 years in one school, you know, and that seems, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like we're supposed to be about relationships and the kids and I don't know, you know, I think grade school, right? There for 6 years and you know, you're there doing the thing and it's, I don't know.
no, it makes sense. I mean,
The one thing I wanted to say about it is, I hear what you're saying, but I think what we're talking about is doing it at the beginning of the year. So there are going to be those kids that have been through the system as is. But I just.
well, I'm gonna try. I mean, is there a teacher, who are the teachers here?
Please.
What, middle school principal, yeah. Teachers, grade school.
Please,
Huh?
no, please.
They're telling us that they're elementary school teachers.
Okay.
My kids are so old, I don't recognize all of them. I only know one of them personally. Let's, you still got your hand up. Give us something, please.
I'll talk.
Oh,
Somebody's got to cut me off. I talk forever.
I'll give you 30 seconds.
I
Go.
probably have been Gary's biggest proponent about not liking blends since they did it a decade ago. When they first did the CCSS, it was incredibly hard doing it by myself. I noticed the blends they do now, they're still blends, but those teachers are supporting each other much better. What I And I'm here, what this gentleman just said was, I have, well, when I was thinking about going to the K2, it's like, I have almost a 6-year relationship with kids. I have kids coming into me, thinking they've known me since kindergarten, 3 years before I ever had them walk into my class. And as a teacher, I work with that, and I work with them even when they're in 5th grade, walking through the hallways, checking on them, seeing how they're doing. And I can't do that if I'm the first time they see me, I'm a 3rd grade teacher. You know, I can't do it for 2 years and they don't know who I am when they come in. And the other thing is I really believe in equity. I mean, after the 20-some years I've been teaching, is last year, my partner had a very difficult class. We were supposed to have, equal balanced numbers. And I think he had 23 or 24 and I had 28 or 29, because every time a new student came in, I went straight to the principal and said, give him me. Not that I think I'm better than him, it's just my class last year was so easy. 28 kids, I could have doubled them and I would still sat there going, you guys, there's a direction to go. And it would have been great. This year I have 20. I try not to cry on my way home. It's just a whole, and I thought it was gonna be piece of cake, but it's a whole different thing. It's just the kids. So as a teacher, I was thinking while you guys talking, for me, for student success is getting them to buy in. I've got lots of knowledge I want to teach, but if they're not buying in and they're disrupting and they're arguing with each other and they're talking over me, it's hard to me to teach. I'm not gonna make everybody successful. But if I can get the buy-in, get them on our side, get them on the class side, get them to want to be here, then all of a sudden everybody's wanting to learn. And then I can be a super successful teacher. So my biggest goal is get the buy-in, is bunch it up. And sometimes it takes 3/4 of the year with your hard ones. But if I can get that buy-in from the kids, as soon as I do, it's just straight education kind of thing. And it's not a matter of me having the same size class as my neighbors. It's just how each class is different, each group of kids. I'm gonna stop talking because I'm gonna keep on going.
That's good.
And you think that if you don't see the kids for the first 2 years or 3 years of their academic career, that you won't be able to obtain the same amount of buy-in because it's the first time you're seeing them?
It's not the end all, but it is very much easier when those kids are already looking forward to being in your class, doing the things that you're doing as a 3rd grade teacher rather than your brand spanking new.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I definitely.
Pro, I mean, no matter who they are, for brand spanking new, but I think there's definitely a lot of, hey, you've been telling me one of my class for like 2 years now, are you gonna move off like this? And that's when they look up and go, no, I'm not. Yeah.
Is there another teacher that wants to talk? Please.
You've heard from me before, but one of the comments was that this is about academic achievement. So that begs the question, are we not achieving now? So I just want to put that out there. And secondly, so I've been teaching for 22 years, 19 in the school district, and 100% it's about relationships. If you don't have those relationships with the families and the kids, then you're not going to get the academics. They have to buy in, bottom line. This is not a Fortune 500 company. We are dealing with people's families. We are dealing with individual people, kids. This is not necessarily just about our emotions. We have emotions, yes, but I think that we have to consider that there's so many factors to it, and it's a very complicated matter. So I 100% say that you need to weigh the personal aspect, because that's where it's going to hit. And if you don't consider that, then you're missing the point.
So, yeah, because I'm the one that mentioned the academic achievement. I'm not saying we're not achieving now, but do you not think we have room for improvement?
We always have room for improvement.
Well, that's what my statement meant. I mean, I think we're at a point where hopefully we can get better, right?
And we can still get better given our current systems too. There's no guarantee that if we do this split, that it's automatically going to lead to improved achievement.
No,
I don't think.
but that's why we're asking the question. We don't know. We're just asking the question.
From what I've heard from teachers so far, because I've talked to some outside of this too, I personally am worried about turnover. I think that this could be something big to where elementary teachers do not want to come back to do this new model, which is one of my big red flags.
I heard the same thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Larry?
So I have a little different point of view because I'm speaking as an interventionist. and I have been a classroom teacher, so I understand that. So a pro for me, and I've been talking about this for years and years, is that, and given our current fiscal situation, if we had K2 through 5, and we focused intervention on K2, I've been an advocate of that for a long time, not because I don't love working with the older kids. In fact, it's a lot easier and more fun. But that if we get kids reading, when you can read this anywhere, you have to have them reading at grade level by 3rd grade, or the hill is a mountain. So if we could focus that attention on the younger kids, I would really like that. And then a con that I've talked to Gary about too, is that when you have a whole school, one of the things that's really lovely in a K-5 is you can give and take. So if something comes along, for example, like we don't have enough money for choir, well, let's let the older kids do that because they're gonna get more out of that. When we have everyone, we have little kids that all need to be getting interventions or reading at the beginning of the day. I believe we're gonna need more resources there. We're gonna need more IAs at one school than the other. And then the 3-5 teachers are gonna throw daggers at me because then they don't get interventions and they don't do that. But I think to me, that's a con because you have all little kids. I want most of them, you work with little kids, you need them reading before lunch. You get the afternoon and it's really hard. So now you've got a whole school of that. So it'll take some planning. But those are my pros and cons that I don't think are, haven't been as vocal because I just come from a different lens right now.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you. You wanna weigh in?
Just a little bit. You already covered one of the big numbers as far as our middle school teachers, especially the 6th grade teachers. We're concerned, and that is the divide between the 2 schools. And that is really absolutely real when it comes to middle school. And it doesn't go away easily, if at all. But the other thing that is also would be a pro is that having both groups of kids come from the same instructional backgrounds.
Yeah, systems.
Instructional system, the same stuff would make it so much easier for the 6th grade teachers to then go from wherever they come and move them forward. Instead of having to figure out, well, this kid got this kid got that, and how to blend those 2 instructional backgrounds into one background. But I do know that at both schools, they're very tight-knit communities, not just the kids, but the teachers and the families of that. So that would be the con, that adjustment would have to be huge. And I will say though that I was at the elementary school for years before I came to middle school. And we had to, I think it was my 2nd, maybe my 3rd year at Benita, forcibly transfer a group of about 12 kids in kindergarten to Elmira. And they came back to us for 1st grade, all the way through high school. I think up until she graduated, one of the parents would always say to me that transferring them from one school to the other and then back had such a negative impact on her child. And it was a big sticking point, that forced transfer, and how negative it was for that group of kids.
And that was based on class sizes?
That was based on class sizes, yeah. And those were kids who hadn't even been to one school or the other. I mean, we called them up beginning of August and said, your child's gotta go to a different school. And we picked as carefully as we could, right? The ones with no siblings, no connections, and it was still a terrible thing to have to go through. So a system that can avoid that can't all be bad.
I have a question in regards to that. Why are the kids coming in different to the middle school? Why is the learning background from the elementary schools different? Why is it not hand in hand? Why is there not a relationship between the 2 schools? I'm guessing the curriculum's all the same.
Teaching is so personal.
I'm
I
not
could work with Michelle for 10 years and the kids that come out of our classrooms are gonna be different.
It's a fair question.
The way that it's a great question, yeah, but the way that you teach, it's so personalized, it's so different. Like, we're not just up there showing a documentary and taking notes. Like, we put everything that we have into it. And so my classes are more loud, they're engaging, they're fun. And then my co-teacher watches documentaries and takes notes, like that, the learning that those kids get, probably not better or worse, but it's just different. So these kids come out with different expectations, different ways that they learn, like I do a lot of choice boards. My co-teacher does a lot of like, this is what we're doing today. So it's just, I get what you're saying. Curriculum is the same, correct? But teaching is so personalized.
Another thing I'd add, and I'd be interested in hearing what Ms. Marshall thinks about this, but first of all, know that that's a big part of Ms. Marshall and I's job is to try to get them more similar, right? At the same time, individual building cultures develop over decades, right? Things that are more valued at one school versus the other. Field trips are different, assemblies are different, artists and residents are different, the daily schedule's different.
Leadership.
Sure, principles are different, different focuses. The goals of each building are different. So cultures develop within buildings. That's healthy. They shouldn't look exactly the same. But it does create experiences for kids that it's not like, one's on Mars and one's on the moon when they go to the middle school. But their K-5 experience has been different depending on the
and maybe that should be the focus. I mean, I'm telling you, there's an issue between the two schools. I mean, there's an absolute issue. I see it. I've coached these kids from kindergarten through 6th grade now. There is an absolute major line in the sand. It's going to be the one thing that's going to stick in my craw forever. There's so many years of relationships that haven't been built, and so I don't know if it's home life. I don't know what the differences are between these kids, but there is a difference. And maybe that's the root of a lot of this stuff. Maybe we need to look at stuff, how it's handled in the schools differently. Maybe how, I know the curriculum's the same, but maybe we need to look closer at how, I don't know, not that you can change teaching style. I'm not saying that because it is a personal thing. Maybe there's something there more to it,
I would say sure, there could be something more there too, but if there was one element that not that it's the overarching end all be all, the demographics are different, right? Our kids going to Bonita versus our kids going to Elmira.
But are they though?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, tell us how they're different, please.
Well, I haven't pulled the data, but I'll get you some.
Okay.
I'll email it to you.
I just have a hard time understanding how a mile south, the kids are completely different.
Well, how many apartment buildings complexes do you have in the Elmira school?
I understand. All I'm saying is that it's been a thing out here forever. When I talk to people that are my age or older that have been to school here, they said it's been that way forever. I think it goes way farther than academics and goes into athletics and goes into it's. Instead of being top down, we need to be from the ground up and building it up similar and the same from the kindergarten level all the way up through the ranks. I think you just see a complete different. I come from something that couldn't be farther apart from where Elmira is right now. It was just more. It was just felt like more founded in community and more. I don't know. It was just together. There was just more togetherness. What I come from, and you saw a lot of people excel. I mean, academically, athletically, you just saw the people excel more than what I'm seeing here, and.
Well, I need to show you some kids that are really excelling then, because we got lots of them.
I'm sure that there are, and I'm not saying that there's not. I'm just saying the sense of community out here, there's an issue, and I don't think anyone in this room would disagree with that. I mean, I genuinely think that, and I think that's super, super important. And maybe we need to look at maybe it's a deeper issue. Maybe the K235 isn't the move. Maybe it's how we're teaching, or maybe there's, I don't know, some things we can do to work together more. I don't know.
I would say both elementaries have a beautiful community.
Absolutely.
You look at what's happening at Bonita, and there's so many wonderful things happening. I think that's what makes it hard, is that you've got these two different families that are both doing great things, and then when it comes together, it gets a little messy. That's one reason I think the K235 would be good. You get these kids blended earlier, you get the teachers working together at all at that grade band. I think another example of just kind of what Kathleen was saying is these posts that I've been pushing out to the website. Erica's classroom did these awesome water displays, right? Clay. 5th grade at Elmira had all the community career experts come in. Both awesome things. Just one's working on social studies, city government, career. One's working on landforms, water in their social studies science.
think that we also have to take into account just societal change, right? Things aren't gonna be like they were when we were kids. Kids didn't play video games for 6 hours a night and eat talkies for dinner. Like, we had dinner as a family, we spent time together, we read books, like, it's just a different, we're not even that old, but it's just a different, the kids that I've been a teacher for 9 years, and the kids that I teach every year are just further and further away from what I had that first year, and it's just like,
And that's what I mean, maybe it can be more maybe it could be more grounded in what's important to all of us, you know what I mean? Maybe the way that it's taught, or the way activities are structured for the schools. I have no doubt that if I sent my kids to Benita Elementary, they would get a fantastic education. That's not what I'm saying. I'm sure the teachers are wonderful, the ones that I've met are awesome. Principal, everybody, it's great. I have no doubt, I just wish there was a way to combine them more without having to do the K2 or 3-5 model. I just wish there was more sense of community. I come from three elementary schools feeding the same middle school, and I did not have these issues. And maybe it is just a time thing, maybe it was a different time. I don't know. I just felt like I was way more welcomed in that situation than these kids maybe are. Not welcome by the teachers, I mean welcome with each other,
maybe that's something that the middle school could make a goal on, is the first week of school is like 6th grade team bonding.
Hey,
When I was a 6th grade teacher over there, we had fun, like, get to know people that you haven't met before, like, who have you played sports against, and make it a positive rather than.
And I think stuff like outdoor school is awesome for that, and I'm now coaching kids from both schools, and I really thought that I was gonna be a difference maker, and I think I'm able to keep the lid on it during practices and games, but I think that as soon as it's over, I saw the switch flip right back, and it's like, all that work I put in to get these kids together, to buy in, to be good kids, to be kind to each other, to have integrity and honesty with each other, it was gone. Just that quick. It's like, I just felt like a failure, it's like, maybe it's not just me. I don't know. I think everybody else goes through it too.
It's not just you. I've coached out here for really long time. And we've always seen it. It's the athletic thing. And I don't think that has anything to do with the kids or teachers, what and how they're doing. It's just the kids grow up from kindergarten to 5th grade with this group over here, and over here they grow up together and they bond and develop relationships, and then they feed into the middle school and they're closer with their group that they grew up with. I mean, it'd be great if we could find a way to help fix that.
Like I said, maybe that's a root issue that we need to look at. But
I'm actually loving this and agree with a lot of this, because what I had written down, let me go back to one thing first, Michelle, is absolutely the two different schools have different cultures, but we also have standards that they have to go by. And in those standards, it's not, if I'm wrong, please let me know. It's not like one can do something in social studies and the other one can do something else. Right. Okay, so as far as.
But they might be doing science right now when we're doing social studies.
Right.
But in the year, they're doing the same
Yes,
thing.
within the year, you're teaching your grade level standards.
Okay, and then the other thing is, I don't know if I'm actually hearing that we need a K2, 3, 5. I feel like what I'm really hearing is maybe we need a revamp, adjustment, something like that. That's what I'm gonna say.
That doesn't fix the blends in the class sizes though.
So that's another thing too, is I hear a lot about the blends, no blends, no blends, they're a pain, da 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 da. So I have been through systems with blends. And we talked about this last time. I have no doubt that you're spending quality time figuring out the best thing, da 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 da. But when we did blends, we took a top first grader and a bottom second grader. It's just developmental, you're not taking 5 groups and having to work with 5 groups. You're taking 2 groups. And the one teacher is working with this group and one worker is working with this group. And it's not age appropriate, it's developmentally appropriate.
Well, it's still their grade level standards that they need.
the thing I'm hung upon is that the teachers that did reach out to me about it said that blends have always been a thing. And that they make adjustments every year, and that there's bubble years, there's high enrollment numbers for certain years.
And that's an excellent point. I guess, sorry to interrupt you. The reason, again, I brought this conversation up is because I see it getting greater. And if what I heard from teachers is, lend us every year, we want to stick with this. okay, that'd be important for me to know, but just know more and more are coming, right? Our lowest 3 grade levels average 80 per grade level. That stays the count. We're gonna have 480 kids. Okay, 6 grades at 80 each. We're gonna have 480 kids. That's gonna be 20 teachers at 24 per grade level. 20 teachers to serve 480 kids. There's a lot of blends. They were even at each school, 10 and 10. Okay, I got 6 grade levels, I got 10 teachers. So just know, in 3 years, we might be blended K-5, every room. That's the path we're on. We've always had blends. We've had years, probably in the last 5, where there's been a year where we haven't had any blends. But just know the writing on the wall is, we're gonna have a lot of them.
So why can't we have the teacher, every single teacher in the entire district and administrator and everybody just fill out a yes or no, and why, so we can look at them? Like why can't we?
We can do whatever we want. What we've done at this point is we gave them a survey and I gave you those results.
I hear everybody saying pros and cons, but I'm having a tough time figuring out which direction you guys are leaning. I mean, some are easier than others, but like, I don't know about you guys, if I'm losing my marbles or what, but I mean, it seems fairly.
Yeah.
It's like I want my valued people's input. I want it, you know?
Can I say something?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not a teacher, I'm an IA.
You're so.
Well, yes, I'm in the special ed department. But I start dealing with the kids from the time they're coming in as kindergartners. So by the time that they're qualified for SPED, usually around 2nd or 3rd grade, I've already developed a relationship with them. And I know a lot of what's going to trigger their behaviors. And we're seeing more and more kids come in that have emotional trauma, they have learning disabilities, and they don't have the family structure that they need to teach them to be social. So we have to do all that. And if I'm not gonna see them until they're a 3rd grader, how am I gonna know how to help that kid the best?
Yeah. Understand. There's somebody over, yeah.
And I don't have a ton, but you're talking about the long embedded, and this is my 4th year in the district. I'm the assistant principal at the high school. And my concern is, if we continue down the same road, right? How do we ever fix that divide that's been there forever? And I see it, and I worked as the athletic director, and I see it affect our athletes. It's a very good sample size of those struggles that they see. And I think for me, one of the biggest pros of doing a K2, 3, 5 is that we get a chance to reinvent ourselves and reinvent those cultures together as a group that's going to come through and get consistent messaging kind of, right? And how do we stop what's been going on, Brian, and regroup, right? And to me, it seems like a way to be able to just take a deep breath, step back, and work on that device. So
That's good.
the cons on the families, divided between the 2 buildings and stuff like that, and those create some cons and stuff too. Right.
Yeah, I want excellence in all. I want academic and athletic excellence. People can call me a dumb jock or whatever. That I talk about athletics a lot or whatever, but to me it was hand in hand. And the excellence is absolutely hand in hand. Kids are held accountable to have to maintain certain grades, to be good community members, to have a certain amount of volunteer hours. Your athletes are typically some of your better students, the ones that are. There's a reason it's called student athlete, and I'm not seeing the results out here. And you look back historically, I look back 50 years about Elmira, it's like it's trouble. I mean, it's been athletically, it's bad. Like there's no way it's bad. And that stuff needs to fit. It needs to get fixed. And I'm not trying to make this about athletics. I'm just saying if we came together and had more buy-in and support and there wasn't such a divide, maybe that stuff wouldn't be there. And the kids could grow together and bond more. And I don't know, I feel like I'm talking myself out of it at this point. I don't really know.
It's enrollment, right? Like,
Yeah.
they're on it, they're saying family.
Yeah, well, that's just it. It's buy-in, right? It's,
They're saying.
yeah.
Community and school spirit.
Right.
Lots of that stuff, pride.
And I would think educators would want athletics to excel because you get, I would think that you get better results from your students that way in the classroom.
Well, is everybody spoke that wants to speak on this matter? No.
Oh, no, yeah, I don't hear Rebecca, speak.
Yeah, sir,
It's okay, yeah, okay.
We're asking for it.
Right.
You're gonna run forever.
Okay, so and I have the pleasure of teaching in both elementary schools, and they're both exceptional. And it's awesome, absolutely wonderful. And I put my kid in one because that's where we live, but I would put my kid in the other one. They're equal. And actually to your point about this division, I was, trick or treating, kids were trick or treating at my house, and I was, oh, this is Lorenz. And I'm like, oh, you're from Miss Lamar's class, you're from Miss Sunny's class. And they look at me like, well, why is that weird? Like they're trick or treating together and they're from two different schools. And when they formed an OBOB team, they were two kids from one school and two kids from the other. So it's not, and the robotics teams were kids from both. And so I understand the thing, but I think that may come from the TSP culture from a while ago of having this us versus
Oh,
them.
no doubt.
It's not big.
No doubt.
The kids are-
No, we're not blaming the schools or the kids for this.
Yeah, oh, no. Let's be 100% the parents. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna be real.
So maybe that's what.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully nobody's taking it that way.
Yeah, so really quick, my kid in first grade was in Andrew Pepper's class, and she, there was a teacher from the high school, retired teacher that wanted to come and teach science, and he said, Mr. James said, I will teach 3 through 5. And she said, will you take a second grader? This was a tag group. And she said, will you take a first grader? I have a first grader that should be doing the science. And he's like, no, she's like, he can do it. In his bedroom right now is still the treehouse he made with Mr. James. He still knows about this stuff. I'm gonna say this here when you're talking about academics, Josiah got the highest score they've ever seen in science, and he had a near perfect score on the ACT. Okay, he was educated here. He had near perfect all these things, and he went to the schools here, and he had that experience where he got to be with 5th graders in the 1st grade. Also, he was on IEP, and asked him permission if I was going to speak, if I could talk about it. He was also on an IEP. He wasn't in speech with just 1st grade because all 1st graders can't say Josiah Laurent. So he would be with the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th graders because that's what he needed to work on. So I love this community of this K through 5. It is magical to watch buddy reading. When you've got a quirky kindergartner and a quirky 4th grader and they get together, it's absolutely magical. And then just a couple other things, which I mentioned before. We're still in a fragile time, and I'm worried about the post-COVID, and we're still coming out of that. And is this the time to change? And really quickly, Roseburg went, Green and Sunny Slope were built in 1940s, 1950s. They split and went to a K2, 3, 5 in the 1980s or something like that. They went back. And I checked with some school board members and things like that, why they go back. One was because everybody else is the K5. 2, the principal right now says it is magical to be in the K5. And then the last one was because the community did not like having that. So.
We got 8 minutes, and I want everybody to feel heard. So,
Anybody with the piano, raise your hand.
yeah, we got 1 here and 2 over there.
I'll be really quick. So my kids are graduated. They went to Benita. I work at Benita. I've been there for almost 18 years. They started preschool and kindergarten at Central Little School. I was kind of a public school snob. And I actually enrolled them at Benita because they had blended classes. They were in a first, second blend when they started, and it was the best thing for them. This year I am working in a kindergarten first blend class with Casey Cutsforth, and it is wonderful. It's like the best class ever, really. So they're not always that bad.
I'm a parent in the district and a teacher. I'm an IA at Benita Elementary School in Care. And I started working there because my kids went to Benita Elementary, and they're now in 8th grade and sophomore in high school. And I do not see any of the division between the two schools. All of my kids' best friends were not kids they went to school with at Benita. So I wonder if that is mostly a sports thing. My kids aren't really involved in the sports at the schools. They do things outside of it, and I just don't see that with them. They have great friends that they met at outdoor school, and then we're happy to see in middle school, and they've made other new friends. That's not been an issue for them at all.
I think it is mainly a sports thing, because at the very young age, we're playing Benita against Elmira, right?
Yeah.
And I can remember back to my kids' first grade, second grade chance. I mean, we're gonna beat Elmira, we're gonna beat Benita, and then all of a sudden you get to Burnt Ridge and we're all one team. So I think it is mainly a sporting thing. Go ahead.
And I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. It may just be an athletics thing, you know?
Yeah, we breed the culture. I mean, in second grade, we're telling you better go beat those Bonita kids. You know what I mean? And that sticks with them. Right? Like, I mean, and I was guilty. My bad. Sorry.
I will speak. I was a student through this district from first grade on, graduated from Elmira, and this is my 19th year teaching fifth grade at Bonita. I was in blends my entire elementary time during the 90s. That's what was happening in education. We were blends all the way through. I turned out okay, I think. As a fifth grade teacher, our kids come in, they are excited to meet people from the other school. It's kind of like a surprise party when they go to outdoor school in May. Sometimes if they already know the kids from Elmira, they request them in their cabins. They look forward to seeing them at the track meet. And currently my best friend since sixth grade was from Bonita. I was from Elmira. So I was not an athlete, she was, but I do see that almost like a healthy competition between the schools as well. So I guess you can see it either way there. And then just a couple hours ago, I wrote an email to one of our kindergarten teachers at my school because I have a very high behavior needs student right now. She met her point goal. She wants to help out in the kindergarten classroom with the little boy that she reads with before school starts.
That's cool.
And that's one of the only things that really motivates a few of these kids.
We only got a couple minutes left and
Thank
she
you.
hasn't got a chance to talk.
There's a lot of echoing of what a lot of people have said so far. I think the biggest thing is that I worked in 7 different school districts. I've seen a lot of different models. There is no perfect system. Otherwise, we'd all be doing it. And there's pros and cons to everything, and change is probably the hardest part. I was in Lincoln County in 2014, I think it was, when we went from 2 K6s to a K2 3-5 or 3-6. I was the principal of K6 and ended up being principal of K2. I would 100% do it again. I would. You would do it. They are still in that model 10 years later, and another Lincoln County is a countywide district with 4 small district areas in it. Newport has also switched to that model. I can't remember the timeline and when they made that change, but it has happened in both areas. Were there big cons? Absolutely. Was it really, really hard? Absolutely, but I would do it again.
How long did it take for it to normalize?
I would say within the year, things were, we had community built, we had things settled. It was really powerful to have 5 second grade teachers in one building versus 1 or 2 or 3. I could balance class sizes across the grade level. I couldn't always balance second versus third grade, but all of my second grade classes were the same. I could spread out those behavior issues that you talked about, or high needs, or you just had more options to choose from. And it was a lot more powerful for professional development and learning. Did we lose some things? Absolutely. We lost some, that upper lower relationship between students. It was hard on families. I've also been a principal of a K-12 school, and seeing juniors read with first graders is probably the coolest thing I've ever seen. But again, there's no perfect model.
Well, I hate to cut everybody short, but we got 2 minutes and we got one more thing to cover for the work session, so we're gonna have to move on. Next thing on the agenda is the superintendent evaluation. We've got was everybody able to take a look at that? Or is everybody trying to figure out what to do for this for now or for the next session? But is everybody good with the ranking of what the questions were and willing to use them?
I'm looking at my.
Well, we could just pick one. We could address that in the next meeting. Or do you guys want more time? Yes, Ms. Lisa.
So one of the things that struck me was with the rating system 1 through 5. If I remember right, Michelle, the strongly agree, mostly agree, and neutral are put together. And then you have a different section for mostly disagree and disagree.
You're off track here.
Yeah.
Well, that ranking is just that number 1 was that's one board member's favorite question. They wanted to include.
I'm gonna do the game.
Well, you didn't, you were supposed to have this in by last Friday and you didn't do it.
Okay, that's because I didn't have anything.
So
This is the questions.
I submitted myself, but I need to compare what I had versus this, but I guess in my opinion, a bunch of these questions, I wanted one, you know, I would have voted one A, B, C, D, and E on a bunch of these questions, and it's really hard to put a number 5 or number 6 on something that's super important to you.
Right.
You know, so it's like,
I'm fine, if you wanna include them all, that's fine too, but we wanna make it also semi-balanced and manageable.
what do we need to take? Is there something we're taking action on?
Well, we have a couple options. I mean, we can hold it over till January. And, you know, you guys can email me back with the questions and we can do this by email individually. Email back with the ones that you guys want to see on here. And then we can move forward with that, or we can take the work we've done and move forward with it. What do you think?
Can I make a motion to move forward with what we have?
Not till the next meeting.
Oh, fine, okay.
So we're not taking action on that.
No, we're supposed to make the board meeting.
Rick.
We're just talking about it right now.
I have nothing on that page.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Yeah, that's fine. That's clear as well. Okay.
Whoa. Are you going to the other pages?
Other pages of what?
There's 3 pages with that. There's the grading system, the questions, and the acting evaluation.
This is just ranking the.
What questions we want on evaluation.
That's this one right here.
Yes.
Yes. What about the other ones?
Well, that was.
Not there yet.
Yeah, that's the you're talking about the superintendent evaluation or the directions on how to fill this out?
Well, I know. I know about questions and you're gonna have to that. I have nothing to say about this.
So, did you purposely not do this because you didn't want to do this or just didn't do it?
I didn't do it because I didn't have any other input to put, except what I'm gonna say in a minute.
Well, what we'd asked everybody to do on this was to rank their favorite questions 1 to 5.
The questions we wanted included on the
Yes.
superintendent evaluation.
So we were trying to come up with a consensus of what questions we wanted to use. And so we all filled this out individually, and the ones that got multiple votes got put on here in order.
Yeah. That still works for me because I'm okay with all.
8 to 11 options, but we only wanted 5.
Right.
Narrowed it down to 5.
Wow, I'm good with it.
Okay,
Good.
all right,
Move on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
adjourned.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
It's like.
All right, the regular session, we have a shared vision in the Fernwood School District, to provide excellence for every student so that each will reach their greatest potential. Thank you to the members of the public who have joined us. As a reminder, school board meetings and work sessions are meetings of the board held in public, providing an opportunity to observe the board's discussion and actions. In an effort to conduct official board business, we ask that the audience be respectful and refrain from questions, comments, and unnecessary noise while the board conducts their meeting. There is an opportunity for citizen comment tonight, and the board looks forward to hearing from those who signed up. I will share some reminders when we get to that portion of the meeting. Also, please note that all board meetings are live streamed and posted on the school board area of the website. So let's start off the day with the Citizenship Award. Yes, Taylor Freed from the middle school.
Okay, it is my privilege tonight to recognize Taylor Freed as the Citizen of the Month for the Fernwood School District. Taylor is an exceptional 8th grade student, and I hate to say the 8th grade because I don't really want you to go to school next. Okay. And is highly regarded by students and staff. To determine which student we wanted to recognize, we opened it up to all staff nominations. Taylor was nominated by 5 different staff members. Out of the 18 students initially nominated, Taylor received the most votes in the first round of voting. In the second round of voting, when we narrowed it down to 3 students, Taylor received twice as many votes as her nearest competitor. What makes Taylor special is the innate kindness that she shows to other students and staff. I can testify to her kindness myself because when I was cleaning the commons, Taylor took the broom and the dustpan out of my hand, and despite my protest, insisted that she would clean up for me so I could go and do principal work. And I am far from alone in recognizing what a great human being Taylor is. So I've talked to some of our staff, and this is what they have to say. Mr. Brummett has Taylor as a teacher's aide 4th period, and he sings her praises, calling her one of the best TAs he has ever had. He says she is helpful, kind, respectful, and always willing to help. As for Mr. Brummett puts it, Taylor is willing to do tasks that others don't want to do, and she does them with a smile on her face. He appreciates her hard work and leadership in his classroom. Miss Page, who works with Mr. Brummett, agrees, saying that Taylor is a model student. She is a student that always tries her hardest and is always willing to try better herself. She is a positive person to be around and very patient with other students. She is always respectful with adults and peers and just a joy to spend time with. Mrs. Lloyd, a language arts teacher, says that Taylor consistently shows respect for others, approaches challenges with maturity, makes responsible choices, even when no one is watching. Taylor's dependable character and positive attitude set a strong example for peers, and her presence helps create a welcoming and supportive school community. And finally, the secretary, Ms. Shelby Humphrey, says that every time she sees Taylor in the halls or in the office, Taylor is always offering to help someone with something. Shelby says that Taylor is genuinely kind and notices when others need help and then offers her help without being asked. So you can clearly see why we had to pick Taylor as our citizen of the month. Focus on her. I know. Yeah.
Congratulations, Taylor.
Yeah.
Good job. This month we have 2, Chevelle Cook.
Yeah.
I always thought Chevelle was spelled differently.
I did too. All right, so I'm Sydney Vanderpar, I'm the principal, and this is Joel Smith, he's the assistant. You get both of us today because we both have good things to say. So, I met Chevelle when I first started there, and she was always kind to me, and she would ask me if I wanted a muffin. And I was brand new and didn't know anybody, and I want to tell you that even though I was the principal, it still felt good to have someone kind and do you remember those jokes that we had? Okay, yeah. That was a long time ago. That was, a couple years. Anyway,
it hasn't changed. When Chevelle walks up to you, there's this kind, really true smile. She wants to make sure people feel good. She works at our front office, and I'm telling you that when you come in there, if Chevelle is sitting at that front desk, you're gonna get a smile no matter how bad her day's gone, and she's gonna help you. So Joel.
Yeah, one of the things that you experience working in a building with teenagers is that some days are up and some days are down. And one of the things that I really admire about Chevelle is the positivity that she attacks life with, and her ability to manage all of the responsibilities that she has. She's willing to volunteer on short notice. Like last week, she ran the concession stand for us for a basketball game and was willing to not only do that, but help support that, make sure during her office period that all the things that were needed to be purchased were transported in, and whatever she can do to fill in a gap or a need, she's not only willing to do it, but she's willing to have fun doing it, which is a testament to the type of person that she is. And we're just really lucky to have her, not only for this year, but I think we'll get you back. So I'm excited for it. Thanks, guys. Oh, sure.
It's not pretty.
Don't smile.
Got it.
Thanks, guys.
Congratulations.
Open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance and have Chevelle get us started.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chevelle says she knows this song as well.
I do.
Let's just think about it. So the students and the parents, you guys are free to stay if you want to see the riveting events that happen here, or you can rush out like the cooks. You're definitely free to leave.
Like,
That brings us to public comment. The Fern Ridge School Board encourages public input. A person wanting to provide public comment will need to complete and submit an intent to speak form to the board secretary by 1 p.m. on the day of the board meeting. Public comment is limited to the space on the agenda, not to exceed 30 minutes for all comments. A person given public comment is limited to an established time limit of 4 minutes. While speakers may during the public meeting offer objective criticism of school operations and programs, the board will not hear personal complaints concerning district personnel, nor against any person connected with the school system. Please state your name, and if you are a resident of the district, if speaking for an organization, state the name of the organization. The board will reserve the right to refer the matter to the administrator. Tonight we have 3 elementary teachers. We start with Megan Full, please.
Hi, I'm Megan Fall. I am a special education instructional assistant over at Benita Elementary. I'm also a district parent. I have a 2nd grader at Benita, a 6th grader at Fern Ridge Middle School, and a sophomore at high school. Yeah. Angie Pebworth is one of our 1st grade teachers who will be also sharing today. She's handing out copies of what we're reading so you can follow along and have it for your records. We'll get started. Good evening, Fern Ridge School Board. We are presenting to you tonight collectively from Benita and Elmira Elementary School. This letter has received 36 signatures from teachers, specialists, and classified staff, and everyone who has signed it agrees with the contents. This is part 1 of a letter that we are reading in 3 parts. We feel compelled to share our thoughts about the proposed K2-3-5 reconfiguration that will affect both and our only elementary campuses in our district. The core of our disagreement and opposition with said proposal is that we do not believe this would improve our school district, our student success, or our teacher efficacy. In our eyes, as the frontline to elementary students, do not see this as the best solution to problems challenging our district right now. In fact, many of us believe it would set us backwards towards our goals of relationships, rigor, and relevance. Let's start with the why. Why is the restructure being proposed? What is the problem that is trying to be solved? We need to start by asking the why. Why is the board being asked to consider this restructure? Those similar presentations to what was shared with school board members were given to each elementary staff group. It is still not clear to us what specific problem currently exists at the elementary level and what our ultimate goal is. The information shared at the board work session presentation in November indicated the main two reasons are to avoid blended classes and to equalize class population disparities that can occur between the two schools. In order to move forward, we should start by looking deeper into those issues. Blended classes are harder to teach. Inequitable class sizes can be unfair, but there are other solutions we can try first instead of jumping to a drastic measure as reconfiguration. District leadership says that blended classrooms and disparate class sizes are a problem for teachers, but the missing information is, do teachers prefer reconfiguration over blended classrooms? Nobody has ever asked us, especially teachers who have taught blends in our schools. There is an assumption made about what the majority of teachers would prefer. Some of us could prefer a blended class or a larger class some years rather than restructuring our district. Dropping enrollment rates were also given as a reason for elementary reconfiguration. The discussion of dropping enrollment overall is a statewide issue and a bigger issue than just Fern Ridge. If in the future enrollment becomes inequitable, school boundary adjustments would be an option to consider. However, we are not currently in an enrollment crisis. Elmira and Veneta are not so inequitable in their enrollment that anything needs to change immediately or even in the next few academic years. This statement is based on data that was shared at last month's work session. At this time, enrollment at both schools is equitable based on school size. What is the explicit information regarding enrollment in our elementary schools? There are other solutions to making Fern Ridge a place where people are choosing to send their kids. The district and teaching staff are already implementing programs aimed at improving every day. A deeper dive into the data is necessary. The reduction in Title I funding was also given as a reason to support reconfiguration. This is a real budget issue that is unrelated to a need for reconfiguration and will require creative problem solving no matter what decision is made. One of the presented pros of reconfiguration is that all title funds can be focused on K-2 students at one school. One option is focusing on K-2 support only. What are the other solutions? If it is decided that title funds will only focus on K-2, we can still accomplish this with our current elementary configuration. In addition, keeping our current configuration could allow a small portion of title funding to still serve students in grades 3 through 5. We wouldn't have to completely abandon struggling students in upper grades if we keep the schools as K-5 schools. We suggest we start by identifying and understanding the problem facing our district. Is our problem blended classes, or is it inequitable class sizes, or is dropping enrollment the biggest problem? Then spend time looking at multiple solutions. Reconfiguration is not the only solution. It is very complex. Take more time, have deeper and more focused conversations with staff. Be creative, start with the problem, then go to possible solutions. To be clear, the elementary staff that has signed this letter do not support reconfiguration. However, if the board would like to consider reconfiguration, we strongly request.
Time's up. Sorry.
That's okay.
Right.
You have it in front of you.
I apologize. I needed to do it to you, but we got it. It's all good.
No, thanks.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you. We have a question.
Hi.
There's.
Lisa, we got. Lisa, wait. Okay.
No, I'll wait.
However, I'm sorry, I'm Angie Pupworth, I'm a Veneta Elementary School teacher. However, if the board would like to consider reconfiguration, we strongly request that you take more time to think about it. This would be a drastic and disruptive change in our district, and the majority of you are new to the board this year. We should not make a decision in haste. The issue at hand is very complex and there's no magic fix-all button. The solution is going to come from a combination of small efforts that will result in a culture of change. If you want to explore this option, we encourage you to make the decision in January 2027 instead of January 2026. This is such a complex decision. It should not be made in 1 or 2 months. Take a year. There's no reason this has to go into effect with less than a school year's notice. Let's move on to the complexity of what reconfiguration would mean. What would this look like for our schools? What are the challenges that we would need to face? Here are some of our pros and cons. Our district's focus is on relationship, rigor, and relevance. There are many ways that we believe that reconfiguration would be detrimental to our relationships, our rigor, and our relevance. Relationships. Veneta Elementary and Elmira Elementary are both individually special. Each school has its own culture and community that make them exceptional. We have 2 amazing schools that we are very proud to be a part of. Teachers are truly friends with each other. We are friends with families we teach. We genuinely care about each other and we deeply care about the kids we teach. We take care of the families when they need us. We donate our own money to buy food for families. We make care packages for sick kids as well as sick family members. There's a thriving community of siblings, families, and older students coming in for daily hugs that exceeds our district schools' relationships. This would be diminished severely if they were only at each school for a few short years, rather than one place where we can see them grow and cater to their needs in the best manner. In the special ed world, relationships over time are essential. Breaking the elementary schools into separate primary and secondary grade level groups would create a transition that has potential for many of these students to be missed or not identified in a timely manner. In addition, students receiving resource room intervention develop strong relationships with special ed staff over the years that are essential for supporting their academic and personal growth. Our schools have programs that intentionally develop and encourage relationships between older students and younger students. For example, upper elementary grades read to younger students during buddy reading time. Younger grades support upper grades during state testing time with encouraging notes and signs. Upper elementary students learn leadership by collecting recycling, volunteering as lunch helpers for younger grades, and being on student council. Younger students see these leadership examples and aspire to fulfill those same roles as they grow. The impact of this change on families is huge. Multiple school pickups and times, increasingly busy parking lots with twice as many buses, more teachers at each grade level dilutes relationship development. Family and community volunteers for PALS and PTA would turn over more quickly. Bonita PALS and Elmira PTA are essential fundraising support for our school, and those groups already struggle to recruit and retain active and ongoing members. There is an extensive number of school traditions, holidays, celebrations, fundraisers, annual community events, and positive behavior boosters unique to each elementary school that would need to be merged, adjusted, or recreated entirely. The restructuring is so much more than packing a classroom and moving to a new space. Which school would host the Halloween Carnival? Which school does the Iditarod and which one gets to do the Oregon Trail reading contest? Staff would need to work together under strong leadership to mesh two different systems together and then redivide them under reconfigured schools. Rigor. One of the benefits presented in favor of reconfiguration was improving rigor and academic success for our students. However, there's no evidence that a K2, 3, 5 configuration improves rigor. Having 4 to 5 teachers per grade level in all one school working together does not solve the goal of improved rigor. It would make collaboration more strenuous and cumbersome. Logistics and preparation would be more difficult with twice as many students to shuffle around. Students, yeah, perfect.
Sorry. I feel so wrong doing that. I'm just gonna throw that out there. That feels so wrong.
It's okay, you have a copy.
Sorry.
I'm Chloe. I'm at Elmira Elementary, 4th grade. I'm just gonna finish our piece about rigor. So students would become a data point and less of a whole person when making academic plans. There are intrinsic academic supports in place when a school has kinder through 5th grade all together. Teachers can work up and down with other grade levels, and our teams do this well. We collaborate with each other across multiple grade levels. We share information and knowledge about kids who have home struggles or need family and community support, so we can ensure they're receiving what they need as they grow up in our schools. This helps students achieve. It would be detrimental to lose this interaction that supports a greater foundation. The third R is relevance. Not only does our current model do an excellent job of aligning our teams to support academic rigor, aligning our instruction and teaching with grades above and below helps us reinforce relevance for our students when it comes to what they're actually learning. We're able to connect experiences from years past or into the future through something called vertical alignment. This is where teachers are able to collaborate to make learning align through the grade levels. This will be much harder if the reconfiguration moves forward. Mentorship is another piece of relevance that becomes more difficult if our schools are reconfigured. Students find mentorship and leadership relevant to their experiences at school, whether it's younger students looking up to older students or older students having the opportunity to lead younger students. We love this part of our school culture, and it's actually imperative to our students' learning. Keeping the elementary grades together connects families and teachers for 6 years or more, making opportunities to make deeper and more relevant connections. Those connections offer the ability to bring in community guest speakers, capitalize on local connections to make the classroom learning relevant to the world. Families are more involved from top to bottom. We bring in local business owners to share in our class. We know the family is deeper because of years of learning together. When students leave a community culture after only 2 or 3 years, learning becomes less grounded in familiarity and stability. When students enter and develop within the same culture from kindergarten to grade 5, Students are able to develop and rely on the familiarity, comfort, and relevance to the place that they attend daily. Creating a new school transition between second and third grade will negatively impact those feelings of relevance towards a new place. And for some of our emotions and opinions from the heart, we love our jobs, we love our schools, we're here because of our community. We signed this letter because as students and staff at the elementary level, we need to be heard. We do not support the reconfiguration, and it's not because we're only concerned for ourselves. It's not because we resist change. It's not because we don't like the other school staff. It's not because change is hard. We move mountains for our students and we pour our hearts and souls into this job. We're always working to be better teachers and reflecting on how to improve our systems. As teachers and classified staff, we have a community. We love VES, we love EES. We care deeply about our students, those we currently teach and those we get daily hugs and hellos from. We like and deeply respect staff at the other school. If you ask veteran teachers in our district where they've stayed here in Fern Ridge, you hear that in our community, it is our community keeping us here. Staff stay because of their coworkers. Reconfiguring our staff communities would create a climate that would take years to rebuild. Your reconfiguration would be tedious. The benefits do not seem to be worth the endurance. We'd be creating a stressed and unhappy teaching staff. This would directly influence the quality of our jobs. We're still in the recovery process as a community and as a district from the impacts of COVID. Our COVID kids are still working their way through our schools or just entering our system, and we're still seeing the repercussions of that difficult time. They do not need this drastic change. It isn't fair to them. Proposing this reconfiguration because teachers are unhappy about blended classrooms or larger class sizes is disingenuous. We see a reality where our district, our students may lose talented and loyal teachers and classified staff because of this drastic change. We don't support reconfiguration for many reasons. This is complex. We encourage you to fully identify and then focus on the problem, then think of possible solutions outside the reconfiguration. We strongly believe that closing the door on this idea completely is the proper decision. Any decision should be made with thoughtful discussion, conversations to seek understanding of all viewpoints, and the benefit of time to ensure transitions are made well. And we strongly encourage you to keep VES and EES K-5 schools.
Thank you very much.
All right. Next agenda monthly items approval of last month's minutes. Is there a motion to approve the November 17th, 2025 work session minutes?
I move to approve the work session minutes from November 17th, 2025.
We have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Can I get a motion to approve the November 17th, 2025 regular meeting minutes?
And make a motion to approve the November 15th, 2025 regular meeting minutes.
I second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Business office, Kawana.
In person.
I know.
What? I really am a person.
We appreciate you joining us in person. Yeah. That didn't sound genuine.
It's okay. I'll leave after this and go back to my work. Okay, so this is the enrollment report as of December 1st. Elmira Elementary has an average class size of 23.9. And Veneta is sitting at 22.9. Total elementary enrollment, including their bridges and structured learning classrooms, is 576. The middle school is at 313, and that includes their bridges classroom. The high school is at 369, and that's with the options in there. So overall, our in-district enrollment is 1,258, which is 26 below our budgeted number. Beyond our in-district, we have our out-of-district placements. We have 16 currently. That's 6 under our budgeted number. And then the numbers below that is the West Lane charter numbers, and they are up from our budgeted numbers.
Question?
Yes.
Wait, so it's 26 under, how does that affect us monetarily?
Financially,
Yes.
what that would be like, well, it's about, it'd be about 300,000, because it's about 12,000 a kid.
So it's about $300,000 shortfall from what our
Yeah.
budget was.
Yeah.
But, correct me if I'm wrong, what we'll get. One of the catches within the law is that they'll pay us when a district is, let's say we were up 50 kids. They pay us on up 50 kids, but when we're down 30 kids, they'll pay us the highest of the last 2 years, so it gives the district time to adjust. So they're gonna pay us on our number from 24, 25. And then now our next year number better be a lot more accurate, because the highest we're gonna get paid is on that number.
Oh, God, yeah, I think they told us that, yeah, so spread it out over like 3 years.
We're down 26 kids.
Well, from our down 26 kids at the dart that I threw at the board.
Yeah.
This is
2 years ago, right? Yeah.
Which was just kind of moving forward, that, that's kind of how we try to base it off of.
So next year, or when we're in the next 2 months,
Yeah.
Quantum Acts have a
coming due.
meeting over winter break to talk about that number we're gonna guess for next year. We will try to get close.
What's the year-over-year trend? What's it look like every year going down?
Our highest year in the last 10 was October of 22. So for example, at the elementary schools in that 2-year time, or excuse me, October of 23. Might even have that note somewhere. For example, at the elementary schools, we're down 75 kids in those last, I want to say it's 3 years, so 22. No, been 23. So October of 23 was kind of our highest elementary enrollment. Definitely district-wide, if you looked K-12, 19, we were as high as we've been probably in a while, in 10 years. Those COVID 2 years were craziness, both up and down. The first year out of COVID, we're back in, we were significantly higher. Since 23, it's down, mostly because last 3 incoming grade levels have been at 80 kids. So if we extrapolate that, we're at 1,200 and whatever. If we extrapolate that, we're at 960 kids. If we have, well, no, I guess 1,040 with 13 grades. So if you continue that path of 80 kids per grade level, like I said, over the last 3, we're gonna be down to a couple hundred kids.
What do we look like compared to the nationwide average? Are our numbers trending the same direction as
far as down? And if you look in the state of Oregon, our numbers are down less than the state average. And that's one thing that helps us with money that Quanah and I can't really figure out for a while, right? If let's throw out a number. We were 2% under in our enrollment guess. But if the state average was 3% under, that actually helps us because that money is now going out to all those kids that were not affected as much. Am I characterizing that right? Yeah. So it's hard to predict. The fact that we're within 26 is pretty close. But we'll want to make sure next year, we're not continuing in this trend. It's nice if you're up a little bit, then you've got a cushion. If we lose kids, well, we're getting paid on that higher year from the year before.
We just have to tighten things up next year.
Well, the biggest thing as far as next year's budget will come around during February, decides what the legislature is going to do. Are they going to access rainy day funds or emergency reserve funds to stop a budget shortfall? Or are they going to tell districts, we told you we were giving you $1 in 26, 27, we're only giving you 98 cents. Or are they going to backfill and say, we told you we're giving you $1 in 27 next year, in 26, 27, we're only giving you 98 cents. That will be the biggest impact in developing our budget for next year. Was the state giving us what they said they would? Or are they reducing what they allocated to this biennium?
And they vote on that in January or something, right?
That's when the short session starts. So it probably won't be February before we get.
Speaking of finances.
All right, this is our general fund revenue and expense report as of November 30th. We have received 57% of our budgeted revenue and have spent 28% of our budgeted expenses. This is consistent with last November to the T. They were exact same percentages. Besides that, you'll see we've been receiving lots of property taxes. So this is the time of year where they really start rolling in. It'll start slowing down in about a month.
We received some federal forest fees, which doesn't always happen, so we did receive that.
What was that, a couple $100,000, $150?
106.
A reminder that all the dimes we receive from property taxes or state forest fees, the state just reduces their payment to us. It is an additional, it's just about.
Kind of part of that overall package, yeah. Yeah, so that's something I'll have to report when we work on protecting our enrollment for next year. I have to let them know where we're sitting federal wise, state timber wise, property tax wise, so they can adjust for it, start preparing to adjust for it. Does anybody have any questions?
You will not believe I answered my own questions.
I knew that one we need action on.
We got a motion to approve the general fund and expenditure report from November 30th, 2025.
Make a motion to approve the general, what was it?
Sorry. General fund and
expenditure report
for November
30th,
2025.
2025.
I accept.
You want to repeat the whole thing?
No.
I got a cheat sheet.
Took the popcorn at the right.
Okay, do we have a second? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Passes 4-0. Thank you for coming in.
Yes. It'll be in my outfit if I need it.
You're going back.
I am, I'm going back to work.
All this excitement, you're gonna miss it. All right, we report to Fern Ridge Educational Association. That's, you're gonna give it this, okay?
Yeah. Then there's driving back from mom. Everybody's gonna laugh and ask us, "Gee, can you do bigger when you have these little tiny things? I can't see anything." All right, Fern Ridge Education Association, here's our report. So we have a couple of appreciations and things happening we want to share that you've heard a little bit about already. At PES, there was community career presentations. And I understand that the fifth graders got to create their own questions, and the most common question asked was, "How much do you make?" I thought was really actually quite smart for young kids. So Miss Neenhouse and Mr. Franklin made that happen. And there were people both from parents and in the community there. So that was at BES. And at BES, they wanted to celebrate Jen Sennett Franklin and Amy Humphrey, who led the 3rd through 5th grade choir. They performed at the annual tree lighting, and BES is just thrilled that they get to host that every year. Okay. And at Fern Ridge Middle School, Mrs. Tracer and the leadership students did what's called Thankful Stations. And they created a fun and welcoming space for kids to share what they're grateful for. They brought smiles, sweet messages, and a whole lot of heart to the school. And then at the high school, students, staff, and families contributed to the adoptive family. They raised more than $1,200 in money and gifts through multiple and are supporting multiple families. And the National Honor Society students are donating their time on the weekend to put this all together and shop. And then they're going to wrap the gifts and deliver them. So that's pretty amazing that happened and that the kids are leading the charge there. In terms of the OEA and the state, so you heard about this last time that there was a response from Oregon Education Association regarding the delay to SNAP benefits. And so they took a fund and said that councils, which are usually a combination of districts together, can apply to support a community organization that serves food, that provides food. And so Three Rivers Education Council created a grant and we were approved. So $10,000 went to Food for Lane County. And then unbeknownst to us, Eugene did the same thing with Food for Lane County. And my contact there talked to me and said, well, we got $20,000, not $10,000. And I'm like, I only know about $10,000. But we found out that Eugene had done the same thing. So they received $20,000 and they were just awestruck. And we have a picture of a big check and all that, that we could share with you. And then recently OEA launched what's called a Know Your Rights training for educators. And it's to prepare for potential ICE activity near or at schools. And it's not to interfere with whatever policies they have on campus, but to know what best practices are and what people's rights are. So I didn't attend that, so I can't speak to that, but I know it's happening throughout the state, and you may have heard of that. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next on the agenda, the Oregon School Employees Association reached out and said they want to start coming give us a presentation. Oh.
Hello, you get me again.
We'll give you more time this time.
2 times. Still totally different topic. I'm Megan Fall. I work over at Veneta Elementary School. I'm also the Veneta building rep for OSEA, the Oregon School Employee Association. Click that for me. Thank you. Did it not go? You just enjoy our little wiggling. Hang with there. The red did not. So we are basically OSEA covers all staff that are not certified teachers. So these are our janitors, these are our instructional assistants, these are our media specialists or librarians, these are our secretaries. So anybody that works in our school building that's not in a classroom teaching or a specialist, so like our speech therapist or a special education teacher are likely a classified staff member who has the option to be represented by OSCA. So we're doing all the things that keep our schools running. That's not teaching in a classroom in a whole group setting. So again, who we have on staff, we have 73 classified staff at the district office. There's 16, so those are our accounts payable, our custodial staff, student services, technology support specialist. The high school, we have 10, so secretaries. We have a secretary for the high school and for our special education department. Our bookkeepers, media specialists, librarians, the registrar, and instructional assistants. At the middle school, we have 11. Elmira, we have 19, and Veneta, we have 17. One of the things we really like to do similar to what FRIA does is that we offer scholarships to EHS graduating seniors. So we try to award as many as we can. We're usually able to do 1 to 3. And these are scholarships for either children or grandchildren of OSCA members in our district. So these are kids who are family members of people who are working and giving back in our district and at our schools. The other thing that we do is during the holiday season now, we participate and support the high school in our Adopt a Family collection, so helping NHS with that. We supplied this year 4 food gift cards for families to put in those care packages that they are handing out. We also do monetary donations to the Kiwanis Food Drive, the Santa Project, which just happened last weekend at Veneta Elementary, and Midlane Cares.
I like the penguin making it rain.
We try to do what we can, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys have requested to come in twice a year?
I think that we talked about quarterly.
Quarterly?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great. Thank you. Oh, let me catch up. Student representative report, Big Jake. There we go. Oh, Jake Stark, wait for your entrance. Sorry. No. I was there yelling and screaming. I'll give you your now.
Okay.
Riley's going first. Let's go, Riley.
Yeah, I forgot my Chromebook because basketball. Sports. Winter sports started. Girls basketball, boys, girls wrestling, and then also cheer. Girls basketball, the record so far is 4-2. Started off a little bit rough, but now we're cooking. We're getting back into it. We have a game tomorrow night at 6, I think. And yeah, we're all having a good time. Boys basketball.
Just one of Mac though. Mac, right?
True.
You guys just won your game with Mac?
Yeah, that was cool. I was gonna say that after the boys. Both teams played at Mac Court last Friday against Slaw. It was all teams both teams had a good time. I heard no complaints from either, and I don't care because I'm not that kind of person. But lots of my teammates were like, this is so cool. I'm like, it's a court personally, but it was cool. Boys basketball team is doing really well. They have a record of 5-1. They seem to be having fun for the most part. Kaden Garcia is on the register guard athlete of the week, so go vote for him. Wrestling, boys and girls, they are also doing well as far as I'm aware of. They've competed in a few meets, a couple people placing it each. They've had a couple tournaments. Caitlin Lilly is on the register guard athlete of the week this week for wrestling, so go vote for her as well. And then cheer, they just competed at a competition last weekend and got third in the 1 through 3A traditional category, and they're going to start courtside cheering for league basketball.
Okay, now on to leadership. So something that our advisor Cody has brought up to us this week is that we need to spread awareness of events more. Currently, we use Schoology, which is the platform we do assignments on and look at our grades and all that jazz. And we also do posters and Instagram posts. Granted, we can't have phones at school, so Instagram posts you can only look in the morning or when you get home. But usually they're posted ahead of time, so students usually have time to look at it usually a week in advance we try to. But we're not always able to do that. So we're going to start video announcements. These will be recorded ahead of time and presented every Wednesday in homeroom for a duration of a maximum of 5 minutes. They'll have updates about sports, spirit days, events in our community, and things like that. The reason why we also brought this up is because when we went to our leadership summit, we also heard about this, is morning announcements, they're through the intercom. They're not very engaging. There's a lot of information thrown at kids, and I don't think kids have the attention span to always listen to that. Why not?
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just saying like this morning, because I do the announcements at the high school, and it was literally a full page of 12-point font. And I mean, sometimes it's just me that does it. Sometimes it's Sid and I or Joel and I, but I mean, I'm always there. But like today, Sid had this much and I had this much, and it was just the difference in voices is easy to pick up on and listen to. But there's nobody talking to you directly. So it's just if I'm watching a video, it's easier to something is happening in front of me. Whereas if I'm just hearing something and I'm not it's just easier to not pay attention. Yeah, I was the one that went to the conference or the breakout room in that conference, and I got some good things from it. I'm sorry, proceed.
And with the verbal thing, not all teachers are able to keep their classes quiet.
Yeah.
So the kids that even want to hear the announcements, you can't even hear it.
I get asked daily.
Yeah.
What was that?
Exactly. And then we have Spirit Week this week. Today was pajamas. Tomorrow will be blue versus white. We'll have snow gear on Wednesday. Thursday will be ugly sweater and accessories. And Friday will be red versus green, which will take part in the assembly. That'll be about 35 minutes full of different games with staff members participating in those. I'm really excited for that. And room 1 got cleaned, which if anyone knows what that is, it's a room where leadership has done their arts and crafts for the last 3 years, and it got a little bit messy. So we greatly appreciate all the district staff that helped clean that up. NHS. So NHS, as previously mentioned, we had a doctor family shopping, which happened this Saturday. I think we had about 15 to 20 kids, which is about double the amount of people that helped shop from last year. It went really smooth. I think everyone had a really good fun time. It's fun when all your friends go out and do that. We have wrapped quite a few of the gifts. The only ones we have to wrap now are the ones that we purchased this weekend. And Miss Nelson will be, the advisor of NHS, Miss Nelson, will be delivering these gifts this Thursday to keep confidentiality. She was just doing it alone. We also raised a little bit more than $200 through Candygrams, and I think that ended up being a little over 300 Candygrams made to be given out throughout the school. Yeah, that's it. That's all we have.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just so everybody knows, Riley is the blocking machine.
I thought there was games tonight, though.
There is a game tonight in 10 minutes. If we could do them all, I gotta get to it.
No, because if we end early, I have to go back to basketball. Can we run this till 8? Not to
No.
Okay, I'll go pretty quickly. Hopefully, this is just, it's a new slide deck because it's a new year, but it's all the same information. So our longitudinal performance growth targets December presentation, our board goals, you guys create your goals, and then I help facilitate goal 2. Our focus goal 2 is using data to identify and prioritize student needs, hold ourselves accountable for meeting all student learning expectations by monitoring the progress of the district goals. So our action plan is that we have these meetings and I share all the data with you. By the numbers, you've heard a little bit about that. When I updated this slide, we were at 1259. Sounds like we're at 1258. I think the biggest thing here is recognizing that 535 of our 1,259 students fall into one of the focal groups above. Students of color, students experience disabilities, bilingual students, students experience poverty or homelessness, foster care, which is 42.5% of our kids. So remember our longitudinal performance growth targets, we call them LPGTs. Next year, they'll just be called growth targets. So that should be more fun. The areas that we look at and talk about are regular attenders, 3rd grade proficiency, 9th grade on track, 4-year cohort graduation, and 5-year cohort completion. And there's multiple different types of targets that we look at. We use historical data to look at our baseline. That's all kids, every kid. Our stretch is if we work really, really hard, focus on one area, what are we really doing specifically to do this? And can we push our kids farther, faster? And then gap closing is our kids in our focal groups trying to close that gap, get them up to our baseline. Additional metrics next year being added will be K2 attendance, 8th grade math, and then we need to choose a local metric. Once ODE approves a list of 5, then I believe probably board action will choose from one of those 5. And more, another thing with that Senate Bill 141 is that they're going to require these types of presentations. We get a gold star, so we already do them. K-12 attenders, so our regular attenders. So if you look in the middle, not really the middle, but 24, 25, those are our actual numbers that we've reported. And then on the right is our goal. So last year, our regular attender ended at 71.01%. Regular attender means you're at school at least 90% or more. Of course, that's the same number. Our stretch, our goal was higher. Like if you see this year, our stretch is 78%. If we were only focusing on attendance and that was it, not 3rd grade math, 3rd grade reading, science, field trip, nothing, we only focused on attendance, we'd want to see 78%. We put all of our eggs in that basket. We're still going to try for it. And then our focal group gap closing, we want, this year our goal is 70%. Last year, we ended at 68.26. What I added over off to the side is where we're at so far. So as of this, when I updated this, it was November 21st. And I added the K2 down at the bottom, just so that you could kind of see what that looks like, since we'll be adding that next year. And then as a district without our options program, which is online, we're at 77.18%.
And there is no difference between like taking a kid out for something and
Not for
being
this.
gone, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're on vacation or if you're in the hospital or if you're absent. And so really what you ask the building principals to do is they have lists and you go through that list and you say, yeah, Connor was hunting. We're not too stressed about him right now. Can you get back? Hopefully.
I was just wondering how far it skews your numbers or, you know,
It does.
a bunch.
Yeah. But you know, it is,
All right.
it's hard. And I mean, you have to find that balance. And really it's about identifying the kids that are missing every Wednesday or every Wednesday and Thursday or every Monday and Friday. Like there's a lot of patterns that you look for.
Well, it's 10% of the days. So if you're a non-regular attender, so that's, you know, you got 180 school days, you've got 18 days in a year. That's a lot.
Yeah. Go ahead. This is our 3rd grade ELA, which is our OSAS data. So we ended at 41.11%. Our goal this year is 44%. And remember, our goals are not, I mean, my goal personally is 100%, but these are goals that ODE takes and helps you build based on historical data. And these might get adjusted next year because of Senate Bill 141, Accountability Act. This was all based on our historical data. Now what they're doing is they're grouping districts in like size, similar district sizing, and then we're going to roll out all new targets. Our stretch is 56%, our gap closing 33.5 for this year. And we met our goals last year. So hopefully we'll meet them again this year.
But it changes yearly.
Yeah, every year we're kind of going, try to fill out.
And excuse me, I actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so for the 3rd grade with the stretch, it's up you're proposing 56%. Is that a little aggressive?
It's aggressive, Lisa, yeah.
Okay, I'll get away with that.
Again, I wouldn't be surprised if the state takes out that stretch goal. Because it doesn't make a lot of sense. Really, what we want to do is we want to look at our baseline and we want to close the gap. I think it's ambitious.
Okay.
Goal.
It should be, yeah.
Really you want at least 80%.
Right.
So STAR CAT, this is what we use as our benchmark interim assessment. That's another thing that's going to be added next year, required by ODE. This is not required, it's a best practice, and we use STAR Renaissance. Next year, the state will adopt 4 programs. We're crossing our fingers that STAR is on there. They're supposed to let us know in January or February which 4 programs are going to be approved. And any district that's not already doing what's called an interim benchmark assessment, K-8, has to implement that 3 times a year. And most schools are doing it. I would just say, again, we're ahead of the game here because we do the same program, K-8. The middle school does it as well. So this is 3rd grade though, and our beginning of the year, 3rd grade state compared to like state OSAS, it predicted 33.6. Sneak peek, we just did winter benchmark and we're sitting at 44.2.
Nice.
So that's great. And that's a credit to all the work that the teachers are doing, the PD that they're working on and all of the things.
That's great.
This one is STAR CBM, which are curriculum-based measures. So they're like 1-minute timings. They're a little bit shorter. We do them more frequently, but we also do those fall, winter, spring, and progress monitoring throughout the year. In the fall, you can't really see, but we were at 41.7 meeting state benchmark, and we're at 48.9 right now for 3rd grade. So that's fantastic. Next slide is 9th grade on track. So same thing, you'll see our goals where we ended last year. We actually, for our 9th grade goal last year, if we keep that, we'll have already made our 25-26 goal, but we just hope to do better. And last year, what's nice is when you look at our gap closing, 84.6% of those kids. So they actually outperformed our baseline kids.
Nice. And this is on track with credits graduating.
At least 6 credits by the end of the year. Oh, look, there's Riley down the bottom right-hand corner.
In a Mohawk sweatshirt.
Well, your dad teaches it. All right, we can go on. So this slide right here is, if you look at those last 2 numbers, the blue line is number of students. So as of the fall, first 9 weeks of school, we had 30 students that had 46 Fs combined. So it's not great. What Mr. Goldegger does is he meets monthly with his team. You're going to see kind of one of their spreadsheets next. They have future success classes, and then he has one-on-one meetings with the kids. And I believe in January, he's also going to do kind of an overview of what happens, because it's really great work that they're doing. Sometimes it doesn't look like it, but it will get better. Yeah.
Does it stay consistent with, you have your number of failures and your students on, the first year? It's actually minus on both of them. The next is actually, no, and then in between 41 and 58, those are actually positive.
Well, really looking at our best year would have been fall 24, where only 16 kids carried all 41 of those Fs. Right now, we have a lot of kids with 1 or 2 Fs, probably.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
You have 5 kids that have 5 Fs, and there's 25 of them right there. So essentially, if you go to the next slide, what you'll see is some of this is cut off, like the actual students, and then I blacked out some information that was, if somebody was really good at knowing the kids, they could guess. But so they look at all these kids, they have a list of the kids, they have a list of the number of Fs, and the teachers sit down there, you can see who's in there, and they talk and they make problem solve, and they support each other and their kids, and it's really powerful.
Is it year over year the same kids, or do you see some of the kids snap out of it?
Well, we only watch 9th grade for these meetings, but then we have, Joel is actually doing some MTSS work at the middle school. Actually, our whole district's doing a lot of MTSS work, but he's looking at sophomores and juniors, and then our counselors follow our seniors. And a lot of times what happens is, if you're not on track, you have to make that up somehow. And so it can come down to the kids where they get really overwhelmed. Hey, quit looking. I'm trying.
No, I just letting you know that you.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, so this is 9th grade on track. You'll hear more from Mr. Goldegger and the high school MTSS team. They're doing some really great work with it. Next slide. Four-year graduation, again, you can see 24-25 numbers, 88.78. Our focal group was 85.96, and we're kind of on track with our goals already for this year. Obviously, we want it to be as high as possible. 5-year completion, same thing, a little bit lower than what we've had in past years. So that's an interesting, it'll be interesting to see, was that like a weird pocket? Because when we first did this, our district's 5-year completion was like one of the highest in the state. So I don't know if last year was a blip or if we just had like a weird pocket of kids that weren't able to finish. But our goals for this year are 93.25 and 90.8.
That's weird, it's so low last year.
Yeah, and that's like, it's interesting over the last 5 years. That's kind of like an outlier number. You heard lots of thank you for tying that to rigor and relevance and relationship. Beautiful. I loved everything about that. This is, our same 3 pillars here and kind of the work that we do and what we're hoping for, our strategies and different activities. Next steps, continue to focus our work around LPGTs. Like I said, they'll be called growth targets next year. That's probably a lot of work that I'll do this year, is getting ourselves braced for whatever changes that means. Support buildings and working on student support teams. They're doing a lot of work at all levels right now with that. Engaging families and community members. Next month, I'll share all of the data from our community input survey and our student input surveys. So lots of great information from that. And interim assessments, what that's going to look like when they tell us. Yes.
So, did you go over the numbers?
Yeah. Which question? You have just on the number of kids that fall into each focal group?
No. My question is there still a BIPOC, which is the Black, Indigenous, people of color? Is that still going on?
I don't know. That'd be a high school question. Do we have?
I don't know. I think from what I last knew, it was kind of something that was like invitational only, because the people within that do not feel very accepted per se, and so they wanted to be kind of more closed.
Yeah.
That's last time.
I haven't heard anything about it.
They advertised it pretty hard.
Yeah.
I think they had some criticism from it, and so they kind of kept to themselves.
It felt a little targeted.
Yeah, exactly.
So if they're going by invitation only, the invitation is only going out to BIPOC students.
That's yes.
And allies too, I think was what I remember. I don't know if that's even happening.
I just remember freshman year they came classes, sophomore year was invite, and then I haven't heard anything over the last 2 years.
Into it though.
No, I did a couple announcements last year, didn't I, about it?
I don't remember that, no. I remember talking to Miss Rendon about it.
Yeah, I think she was the.
Yeah. I have no idea this year, to be honest.
I'll ask Miss Lisa. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, great. There's more. I'm here for a minute. Sorry. What's next? SIA. So actually, this ties in beautifully. We do need board action. This is our student investment account grant agreement. So essentially, we use all of these dollars to help support all of this work. Our PD, our counselors, our student health and well-being, all of those different things. The grant agreement says that we'll follow all the rules. So I can't just go rogue with the dollars and do things that aren't covered in the grant agreement. So you do have to do that. And this is on our website as well.
Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll do discussion.
Can I get a motion to approve the state of Oregon grant agreement, grant number 39199?
Your turn.
Make a motion to approve the state of Oregon grant agreement, grant number 39199.
Did it. I second.
Discussion.
Okay, as far as the exhibit A, is that something that we can see?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on the website, or I have it right here if you'd like it.
Okay, yes, please.
Yes.
Yes, the other ones I'm not.
It just, like exhibit A just defines like Student Success Act is allowable project costs. You want this one?
Yes, please.
There you go.
Thank you.
Then all for discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0.
Is there? Do I ask him for too much, to get a copy of that stuff beforehand, because I normally just follow my computer. Is that something we can do, like all the stuff to follow along? I normally just go through on the website, all the one.
Like
all
when
my
you're
stuff.
here?
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Grant agreements are super boring. You should print this off and.
That's what I think. I wonder if all of this goes with this.
Super.
Health update. Oh, I guess I'm just giving you a verbal update. So last year we adopted health K-12, but really what I wanted to give you guys an update is on K-5, because right now we adopted Great Body Shop. Remember, we use Planned Parenthood for human growth and development. Great Body Shop's used by 2, 3, 4, 5, probably at least half the districts in Wayne County. But this will be our teachers' first year teaching human growth and development standards in the elementary without Planned Parenthood support 5th grade. So what we've done so far is we have a 4th and 5th grade training set for January, because we're a couple of units away from getting ready for that. So we have a training set for January 21st. That'll be an hour and a half, and that trainer will walk the teachers through the lesson plans and kind of the content. They'll do Q&A. They'll talk about what feels comfortable, not comfortable, how to do it well. What I've been working on is parent opt-out letters that kind of for every grade level that have the way Great Body Shop defines it is sensitive materials. So if there's anything with human growth, any body parts using the right names, instead of saying private part, you say penis and vagina. It's kind of like that, but that's different than what we've done in the past. So I'm working on a kindergarten letter, 1st grade letter, each grade, and then outlining what that material is, and then attaching that sensitive material so that parents can see it, and then they can opt them out, or they can talk to the teacher and just want to see it and come listen to it. You spend a lot of time looking through the curriculum. It feels scarier than it is to say it out loud, and it's just different.
How do the teachers feel about doing it?
Well, we got a 5th grade teacher right behind you. I think they'd much rather have Planned Parenthood come in.
First, I will say that I don't have a problem teaching it. I generally like to teach science, so that's how I approach it. However, I've been at 5th grade for 11 years, and I've always appreciated the just how well trained the Planned Parenthood presenters were. And so when they come in, I would introduce them like, this is our health educator. They're pros at it. And I also learned a lot from the way that they presented the information, not just their slides or whatever, but really talking about how do we have a conversation about this and make sure everybody feels comfortable. So it was 5th graders are going to get weird and giggly and all of those things. So I just liked the tone that they set, and I learned a lot from that. I want to I'm looking forward to the training, because I really want to make sure that I'm really taking all of that information and presenting it in a way that makes the kids feel really comfortable and they get the information. So, but personally, I don't have a problem teaching it.
And this is an ODE deal, or this is giving the school districts the option?
Yeah, health standards are an ODE required.
Right.
And human growth and development is one of the health standard subsections. But what a lot of schools do is they hire Planned Parenthood to come in because it's a tricky topic.
Yeah.
And it lets them be the health educator experts. It takes it off of our teachers. That was something our board didn't want to do. So we got Great Body Shop, and it's I think it's gonna be okay. And yeah, sorry.
One thing that came up at our 5th grade PLCs is that we are going to request an admin to be present during those lessons. So because previously, when Planned Parenthood came in, the teachers were the second adult in the room. So we could kind of just monitor the kids, and if they were feeling very, uncomfortable or wiggly, we could kind of just get them calmed down. So it's just really helpful to have a second adult in there, and so that's what we're gonna request.
But the way it was before, the teacher couldn't speak on some of the stuff that was happening, right? Is that correct?
I was willing to answer questions, but it was their presentation. So.
So all of those letters will get translated, they'll all be on the website. This year they're gonna be sent home in January, but normally they'll be at the beginning of the year, and then school staff or either principal or teacher will notify families at least 1 week prior to any of the lessons being taught, so that parents get that reminder of like, hey, don't forget. And then classrooms are gonna have, each building will have a process for where students that are opted out. They'll have a buddy classroom.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I mean,
That brings us, that brings us the superintendent's report.
I'm just gonna touch base on one topic. We've been talking a lot. Bond, real quick update. High school parking lot, water issue is fixed. Got lots of rain the last 2 weeks, no problems, so that's good. Benita Elementary, Wednesday at 11, I have a meeting with the pre-application process with the city that we're required to go through for land use. So that's not the property next to there. Hopefully we get all that goes well and we get to move on to the land use process to get that approved to get turned into a parking lot. Middle school last week, we started to receive, had one big semi truck arrive with several of the beams for the back structure. So not everything's here yet, but we're making a little bit of progress. And our next Fernridge Middle School Science Room design meeting is this Thursday, and that's been going well. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is the first reading of proposed policy updates, CBG. I need to read all these, right?
No, okay, because this is just first reading. This is basically Bree and I went to the last couple updates or the last couple of packets they've sent out. These are all the required ones. So between now and the next meeting, read through those, any questions in any of them, send them my way. If I don't know the answer, I'll get the answer from OSBA. And then we should pretty much, I think, be caught up with the required ones. We'll start looking at some of the optional ones, possibly in January.
I'd ask everybody to read through those soon. Get your questions back to us. Yeah. Get those questions back to us as soon as possible, so we're not doing the last minute stuff. Please. Personnel, there are no licensed hired in this month.
Jake would like to talk, please.
Jake?
Yes,
What makes Jake feel so special?
I emailed Miss Right, she got back to me. She said they do not have regular meetings anymore, but she's, yeah, about BIPOC, sorry. They don't have no more regular meetings since the attendance is low. She's still the administrator, but if students want to do something, she's still willing to connect with them or meet up with students at lunch.
Thank you.
Would you tell me so the administrators again?
Oh, Miss Right did.
Desiree.
He's the advisor.
Is that's it, is right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Are you good now, Jake?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
Promise. Riley, don't want to leave you out.
I appreciate it. I think I'm good right
All right. Personnel, there are no licensed hiring this month. Non-licensed personnel, there's none being hired this month. Late items, I want to add the two things we discussed in the work session to it. First, I want to see if anybody wants to make a motion to either not continue to move forward looking into the restructuring, or if somebody would like to make a motion to continue to look into the restructuring. Do we kill it on the vine right now, or do we keep investigating?
Well, I would move to continue to get the information that we're asking for and to get all this feedback. And then we can make a decision. If we don't move forward, it's a no.
Are you making a motion to continue to look into it?
Yes, I am.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion,
Information is good.
discussion?
I think it's good to get more information. I don't want to make. Yeah, I want information.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Continue to look into it.
That's one.
I'll meet with administrators, come up with a specific plan and some ideas.
I legitimately want a yes, no from like every teacher. I don't know why we
Every
couldn't.
teacher K-12.
Sure, why not? Okay, at least the grade school level and administrators.
And
Can we,
Instructional assistants.
I don't wanna drag this on forever. I don't know.
No, I'd like to get, just, if we are gonna continue to look into it, I'd like to take the month of January for all of us to do our homework, to figure out what we're gonna do, and then make a decision at the end of January, whether just kill it or keep going. I don't wanna keep potting it every 3
Yeah,
months.
I don't want to either. I just want some information and I want.
Absolutely. Tell us what you want.
What I'll do, because kind of, it gets complex when each board member has different ideas about what to do and what not, and we want to take action on that. So what I'd suggest, let me come up with a plan. I'll shoot it to y'all and then just respond to me individually, if that looks okay, around what we're gonna do. We're gonna set up a Zoom with Lincoln County, we're gonna talk to Clackamas, that's why they're doing that, we're gonna talk to North Bend. Maybe there's some districts, I heard somebody mention Roseburg switched back. A survey, I might have a draft of what I hear people wanting is just kind of a yes, no. I think it is important to ask everybody K-12. I also think it's important to delineate, be able to split those out. Are you a third grade teacher or 11th grade teacher?
Yeah.
Probably we need to.
How many educators are there total? Sorry.
We have around 70 of each, 70 to 75 teachers, 70 to 75 classified.
I mean, this list is literally half. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Can we give a spot for open? Yes, not just yes or no.
But like limit it to a couple of, bullet point, whatever, something. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Then, I mean, I would also encourage all the board to reach out to people that are reaching out to them and have conversations with people between now and then.
And then, so what will be important is that we get all the information. So that would be also including the surveys from parents and community.
Haven't done any yet.
Pardon me?
I haven't done any surveys of parents or the community on K2, 3, 5.
Right. So for information, will we be able to get that for the next meeting?
No, I mean, we would have to vote on tonight, right? Like what we were.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, what I would suggest is I'll come up with a plan. It's gonna include talking to other districts. It's gonna include what survey we're gonna do. Do I wanna do a community forum with the parents? Do I wanna just push it out to parents and let both parents vote one way or the other without hearing any of this information? So I'll come up with a plan of what I think of these 6 or 8, 10 things we're gonna do to continue to investigate and shoot it to you.
Yeah. I don't want to waffle on this and talk about it for 6 more board meetings
Right.
at all, but when there's half of the staff, by the way, if there was 68 of them or something, it's like, well, you know what I mean?
Totally.
I don't want anybody to think one way or another. I just want information. That's all.
Yes. I think that's all we're voting for, is to continue to look into it for more information.
Excuse me, sorry, Angie, can I ask you if you're able to answer how that went out to staff, like staff could volunteer to cast their vote or whatever, how that happened?
It was presented to both staff. It was written in a collaboration of about 5. We had staff meetings. We had by invitation, staff meetings, hey, we're gonna talk about this, get ideas. We got those ideas. It was written collaboratively by about 6 or 7 of us. And then it was put out there, if you want to sign this one, you can. One option that we discussed is keeping the support of it anonymous versus putting names down. And I will say that if it was anonymous, the number would have been higher. Several people were in support of the letter, but did not feel comfortable putting their name on there, whether they were new teachers or just didn't want to rock the boat or,
So why wasn't it anonymous?
That's just the way we decided. That's just the way we decided to do it.
I think it definitely should be.
Yeah.
The conversations we had was we felt it would be more powerful to have names and faces, that these are real people saying these things.
Well, I appreciate that.
The surveys that we'll do will all be anonymous, other than if you're an elementary teacher or middle school teacher.
I see both sides. I really appreciate people putting their name to it, you know what I mean? But I also want people to be able to speak freely and without worrying about, blowback from the community or whatever. So like I said, I just want information. It's not a yes, no, I don't lean any direction. I just want info from the people that matter, that are actually educating our children.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, I don't want anybody to think really don't know.
Okay. So you mentioned earlier that middle school and high school is not affected the same way as elementary. So the initial survey, with that, I've said this before, but the initial survey has the middle school and high school. And I would be interested in seeing a survey without those numbers, because with those numbers, with middle school and high school, that changes the data.
We did see that survey. We saw it, right? I mean, I shared the data. Here's the elementary.
Yeah, survey results with just the elementary staff is going to show it in a different way.
I did show a survey with just the elementary staff. The question the board will need to decide is, do we want to tell the middle school and high school teachers they have no voice?
Right.
The message I got from them is we want to have a say in this too. Understanding clearly, the most impactful voice we need to listen to is our elementary people. We want to tell them, shut up, we don't want to hear from you. We can do that.
No.
But I do remember seeing just the information, just the elementary school level. It was broken out for us. I don't know if we shared that in an open meeting, but we did see.
In the slide deck, I went through at the board meeting, showed district as a whole results. Here's what our K-5 teachers think. Here's what our 6-12 teachers think, which was obviously vastly different.
Yeah, we're all, vastly different.
It's much more favorable.
Yeah. All right, well, that passed, so we can move on to the next one. Superintendent evaluation, do we want to make a motion to adopt the 5 questions to use for the superintendent evaluation survey? Anybody make a motion on that?
We need to discuss the ties.
Oh, the ties? Sure,
Yeah, that's really.
Yeah, in the third and fourth group, there was
Bottom left.
And I think they're all important, but we're not.
Thank you.
What's that?
Oh, I feel like the middle one, the middle 5 and fully encompasses it. The other 2 are a little bit more
That's.
specific.
Yeah, let's use make a motion to adopt all these using the middle one as number 5.
I will make a motion to adopt these and with the tie going with the middle 5.
Say that one more time. What are we using?
The middle 5, there's 3 5s.
Business and financing, we have the 3 that are highlighted.
All right, so you're saying the middle one?
Yeah,
More fully encompassing.
I'll second it. Yeah, discussion. I'm good with it. Not hearing any discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Motion post.
So I'll get this. This will be a March thing. I'll try to get organized in the next month or 2 and just let you guys see the final version of let's talk about those.
All right, that will conclude. Let me double check. Having events. All right, that concludes the business.
Thank you, teachers.
Thank you.
Skip all of basketball.